I'm Stacey and welcome to the kitchen of my old Kentucky home. Today we're going to be making two classics. The first, a Louisville original recipe. It's been a favorite of Kentuckians for over 80 years, the hot brown. The second, we're going to make a classic bourbon cocktail. Jessica's going to whip up the whiskey sour. Let's get started. For our classic hot brown, we will need turkey, toast points, bacon, tomato, heavy whipping cream, Pecorino Romano cheese, paprika, nutmeg, butter, all-purpose flour, salt and pepper. So before we layer the ingredients for a hot brown in our gratin dish, we're going to go to the stove and make a basic Mornay sauce out of these ingredients. So the sauce for our hot brown is a basic Mornay sauce. We're going to need 1.5 tablespoons of butter. We're going to let this simmer over medium heat as we layer in our 1.5 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. So the basic start to this Mornay is simply making a roux. It's just flour and butter. And try not to brown it, but get it really mixed up. Our next ingredient will be 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream. Did I mention this was a diet recipe? So we're going to just let this come to not really a boil. I'm just going to keep it on a simmer over medium heat for about 2 to 3 minutes until it gets thickened. Okay, this is both looking and smelling good. I wish you could smell it. It's been about 3 minutes. We have been stirring this constantly. It's starting to really thicken, if you can tell that on camera. I've just turned off the heat. Leave it on the stove, but we're going to keep stirring, no heat on, and add the 1/4 cup of Pecorino Romano grated cheese. Okay, we're going to whisk that in. We're going to add a pinch of nutmeg, literally a pinch, maybe 2. I didn't get that big of one in there. And you can do that to taste, trial and error. And then you can also do salt and pepper to taste. So we're going to add a little of this. We can always add a little more later if we want. So this is our classic Mornay sauce. We're going to take this over to the rest of the ingredients and assemble our hot brown. Now that we have our Mornay sauce prepared, our bacon fried, our toast points toasted, and our leftover turkey, we're ready to make the hot brown. I wanted to give you the history of that before we assemble it. And I think it'll make more sense of how this came to be. So the story goes like this. It was actually, we know the year, 1926. The chef at the Brown Hotel, which is still in existence today, it's a classic jazz-aged hotel in downtown Louisville. The chef would make bacon and eggs for the dancers that came to the hotel on the weekends. Back then, a lot of the locals would do that before dance clubs. And they would always ask for dinner before they went home. This was before the late night drive-thru, right? So the story goes that Chef Schmidt got tired of making the classic bacon and eggs and he wanted to do something different. He had turkey on the banquet that night for dinner, so he took that leftover turkey and took these other ingredients, they think maybe inspired by his German descent, where he might have had a croque monsieur in the past or a Welsh rarebit, and he came up with this, which has become a classic dish. The dancers liked it so much they kept asking for that hot turkey sandwich from the Brown Hotel, and it became known as the hot brown. All right, let's assemble our hot brown. We're going to start with our pre-toasted Texas toast, and named Texas just because of the side. You can use any real thick cut or artisanal toast. I'm going to layer those in there. We've got an au gratin dish, just any oven-proof dish. I've also seen sometimes for large parties around the holidays, we'll put them all in a big pan and make it more casserole style. So we've got our bread, we've got our Roma tomato. We'll do a couple slices of that. We've got our turkey, and this is, you can use any turkey. You can use it left over from your turkey dinner. You can use deli meat if you want to, but I like the thick sliced original roast turkey. This recipe I used is one of my favorites a friend of mine gave me, and it marinated for 3 days, or brined rather, in bourbon, orange juice, and molasses, or sorghum rather, and we'll put that on our website as well because it's a good one. So we've got that layered on, and now we're going to add half, this recipe makes 2, by the way. So we're gonna add half of our Mornay sauce. Just kind of spread that around the turkey. And you can top this with additional grated cheese. I always like to do a little extra sometimes as well. I'm gonna grab that out of the fridge and we're gonna pop this in the broiler for just a few minutes. We're gonna brown it and then we're gonna add our bacon. So more to come. Oh wow, so we have broiled this for about 5 minutes and you just kind of have to watch it. You just want it to come out this beautiful golden brown bubbly color. We're going to top it with a little bit of paprika. This is a smoked bourbon paprika that we get here in Louisville. You can special order it. It's Bourbon Barrel Foods. Just make that look a little lovelier. Then we're gonna top it with 2 slices of bacon. Now you can put, we cooked our bacon earlier, so it's gotten a little room temp. You can put this back in the broiler for just another second if you wanna warm up your bacon. And then I just minced some fresh parsley. Wouldn't advise using dried parsley, just forget that. But if you have the fresh on hand, it makes a nice color contrast to this. And that's your classic hot brown. So now I know I'm ready to try this whiskey sour that Jessica is whipping up. Let's go check it out.
Stacey and I recently rediscovered our love of whiskey sours at this really cool cocktail bar in Louisville called Red Herring. And I think the tart cocktail is gonna pair perfectly with the creamy Mornay sauce on our hot browns. So that's what we're gonna make today. What we need is Woodford Reserve bourbon. We're gonna use an egg white, lemon juice, sugar, and just the syrup from Luxardo cherries for a garnish. So we're going to separate our egg white from our yolk here. And an egg white in cocktails just kind of adds a nice velvety, frothy texture. But if you don't want to include that, you can also leave it out. Get that separated. And then we're just going to add 2 ounces of bourbon to a cocktail shaker with ice. And we've got 1 ounce of freshly squeezed lemon juice and 1 teaspoon of sugar and our egg white. And we're gonna give that a really good shake in our cocktail shaker. All right. And now we're just going to strain this into a glass. And to garnish it, I'm just going to take a little bit of this Luxardo cherry syrup into a straw and kind of make a pretty circle for color there on the top. All right, and that's all there is to it. Whiskey sour.
Well, Jessica, I love when we do recipes that are just classics, especially when they came from Louisville. In the case of the hot brown, which one of the things I didn't talk about is when you come to Louisville, of course, you want to try one at the Brown Hotel. I mean, that is the classic version, or make one now on your own. There are also about 40 other restaurants that we've tracked in Louisville alone that have a version of the hot brown. We call it the hot brown hop.
Some do a little bit more traditional, like this version. Then there are some kind of crazy ones like hot brown macaroni and cheese, or a not so brown with seafood, breakfast versions, pizza, all kinds of stuff.
Breakfast, I guess, has an egg on top, right?
Yeah.
I've even seen one as far as New York. Bobby Flay, who is a fan of Kentucky's, he loves the horse racing. He has the hot brown on his restaurant, Bar American in Manhattan.
So it's kind of becoming a Kentucky and American tradition.
It really is. Speaking of traditions, I mean, it doesn't get more classic than the whiskey sour. And as you said earlier, we've kind of gotten onto them from this new cocktail lounge in Louisville.
We're on a kick.
You've made a great one.
And I brought these coupe glasses in particular because they're a little fancy and kind of reminiscent of the opulence at the Brown Hotel. So wanted to send that vibe out.
And you were saying, I know we do in our family, this is something, the hot brown, you can make all year, more in
the fall, winter, but especially...
Yeah, we do them after Thanksgiving with our leftover turkey, so it's a real holiday tradition around my house.
Great use of that. Do you make whiskey sours with them?
I haven't so far, but I'm going to start for sure.
I think you should. Classic combo.
Yeah.
Well, for more information about recipes like this, please continue to follow us at culinarylouisville.com.
And we'll see you next time on Bourbon
And biscuits.
Cheers.
Cheers.